All right, so as I said, today's Mother's Day, and I'm not going to do, per se, a talk on Mother's Day, because we've done that several times where during holidays, I mean, it's appropriate to speak about the relevance of that particular holiday. So I will do that to a degree, but I'm not going to focus exclusively on that. Instead, I'm going to start, I had a dream a few days ago. It was an interesting dream, but from what I recall, dreams are very important because there's messages going on. There are higher dimensional messages. And in the dream, it was very interesting because it had to do with like being shown this donut-shaped like vortex above the city of Seattle. And what I was noticing was I was sort of captured by this vision because it was like planes have to come into Seattle and go through this vortex and really land steeply once they go through the vortex, come in very, steep. So I was like, wow, and that's kind of dangerous. And at the same time, I was remembering a few near-death experiences flying in and out of Seattle myself. So it was putting together my own, remembering so many flights going through there. And one of them was interesting because I flew to Seattle and I was going to speak at a conference. And there were other speakers from the States that were going as well, people that I referred to the conference and said, you guys might want to get this guy and this guy. So there was Greg Braden and a few others, and we were all heading over there. But I arrived at the Seattle airport and it's getting ready to board. I walked up to the ticket counter and I hear, "Is that Michael Mirdad?" So one of those individuals saw me, and they said, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey, great, how's it going?" So I said, well, let's get our seats changed and we'll sit by each other. So a few of us got together and sat there. And then the flight starts taking off and smoke starts filling the plane. Now, I don't know how much you fly, but it's not a good thing, okay? So smoke's filling the plane and, people are looking at each other and I'm looking at the flight attendant like, "Are you noticing the smoke?" And it was so interesting because one of those speakers, I won't say which one it was, said, "What if we crash?" And I said, "If we crash, today you shall be with me in paradise." It's a Jesus reference, okay? That's what he says on the cross to somebody. Keep things light, but "you shall be with me in paradise." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Wow. In any case, we had to land again and it all got sorted out. But Seattle, okay, so I'm noticing this steep descent they have to make and so on. So then when the dream's over, I'm told the interpretation. And it had to do simply with how we as human beings find it so scary and dangerous to get grounded. It feels too much, too steep, too sudden. But we have to get grounded, all of us. And we have to stay grounded. Now, the opposite extreme, materialism. So you and I justify, I don't want to be grounded because I don't want to be materialistic. Who told you that that's what we meant? The ego. The ego never wants you in your center. It wants you at the extremes. Overly materialistic or overly ungrounded. Now, let me add, it's logical. It's logical for somebody to say, look, if water in a tub is too hot, not getting in would make me safe. If the water in a lake is too cold, logical. You don't go in and then it's not too cold. So what we do to ourselves is, Earth, kind of tense. This place is kind of intense. It's messed up. If I don't land, if I don't get in my body, I'm safe. That is logical. It's just not rational. Because the opposite is true. The more you are not in your body, the more danger you're in. That's why people that are overly in their body are so tense and they look protective and hyper-masculine and they seem so safe because it's the opposite extreme. If I'm out of my body, so much so that, oh my God, everything frightens me. Everything startles me. When someone walks in the room and says, "Hi," whoa, I jumped out of my body. That's not safe. You got to be more like, Kwai Chang Caine, man, in the Kung Fu episodes. In your center, you're in the world, but not of the world. totally present. Now, there should be classes in high school on this before you graduate. They should make sure you're in your body, properly. I'm talking about balance, as always. Center, 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 balance, balance, balance. But the extremes. You and I are told this world, and it's true, this world does seem very intense. The way to stay safe, stay out of it. Be fragile. You pull up to a stop sign, look both ways, and definitely don't proceed if there's a car within 3 miles. Those roundabouts, again, I'm bringing up. But, they look and it's like, oh no, I can see a car in the horizon. I'll wait. It is the weirdest thing, and it's like, yeah, I could finish a chess match in the time that I don't even play chess, but I could finish a chess match before they proceed. Because so scared. Just so like this, so scared. And there's those of us who when we're driving, it's always fun to be in the car with somebody like this who brake, because they're so scared. What they're looking for is not braking, it's safety. It's a hyper-vigilance towards safety. How do I get safe? By constantly pushing the brake. By not going when there's a car a mile away. That's not how you stay safe. A car can be 10 feet away, and if you're in your body, you'll know how to deal with that. We all have to become awake while we're in our body. We have to come into our body. Some of us never even landed completely. In we came. And when you've seen shows or you've seen in real life, a neighbor shows up at their house, they pull up, they stop, they go in their door. You start seeing at night a light, and you know what rooms they've gone in because the lights are coming on, right? Same thing. When you've entered your body, we should all see a light, every chakra. The light switches should be going on until poof. Some of us, the root chakra light never got turned on. And we thought, nobody will notice. I just won't fully show up. And that way I'll be safe. And it's not how you're safe. You're now unsafe. Because predators don't look for people that are totally in their body. Sorry. They look for people who are kind of out of their body. It seems, just like a predator animal. They don't go, wow, there's a giant wildebeest. He could probably pummel me with those hooves. I'm going after him. That's not how it works. They look for the wounded. Wounded is synonymous with not in your body. They look for the frail, the wounded, etc., the young, anything that seems at all vulnerable. It's a bit serious of a conversation, I know it seems, but it's very important for us to hear this. There are groups of people through history that have been given to earth as a blessing. Groups of people, for example, shaman, druids, so on, that are supposed to, they may not even remember their origins or their original purpose. But one of the main purposes for such groups, help humanity feel safe and get in their bodies. Unfortunately, most of them forgot that that's part of their core purpose. But even those that remember and don't remember end up often becoming abusive with that role they're given. Tantra is another one. These are people, these are groups where they're supposed to be saying, we're here to help you heal and get in your body, because our groups are about earth. Now, these groups often will talk to you about the earth. They might even use the words Earth Mother. They might talk to you about getting your body, and it sounds very beautiful, it's Tantra, getting your body, but yet they don't even know what they're doing. If you're not in touch with the Divine Mother, how can you tell me about the real Earth Mother? See, we have to be in love with the Earth Mother to be in love with her child, which is me, my body. My body is birthed of the Earth Mother. However, if I don't know the Divine Mother, I already limit my ability to know the Earth Mother and the feminine within myself. So these groups shy away from talking about the Divine Mother because that sounds like Holy Spirit or Divine Mother, God. It's like sounding old school to some of them. So they'll just talk to you, oh, you don't need that. Just get in touch with the Mother Earth and be one with the earth. You can't. They're lying to you. If you neglect the mother of all the mothers, then how much can you really get in touch with even the Earth Mother or your human mother or the human mother within you? We have to fall in love with the divine mother, the earth mother, and the human mother within all of us. It's mother on all three levels, just as it's father on all three levels. Bringing healing back into this consciousness. When I'm doing sessions and people talk about being, when I sense that they're ungrounded or their root chakra's unplugged, as I would call it, there are things that they can do to get back in their body. Now, let's pretend you can say like it's a dosage. Well, what you need is 3 drumming sessions, and you need, to eat foods that are a little more earthy, which is true. Foods that are more below ground vegetables or a little bit more meats, those are the carnivorous energy helps you ground more. That's why the people that are usually predators are hyper carnivorous. They want to devour other human beings in all the gross ways that they do. But that's extreme. Balance, balance, and balance, and balance. Find ways to get grounded. But no matter what, if I could give you a dosage, take 3 of these, do 2 of those, which I do with clients usually, recommend some things. There's one important piece that will take it all to another level. Grounding, that is. One important piece. Heal what made you feel ungrounded in the first place. It'll help any other dosages we give you. Well, we can say, wear rust colors, wear some earth tones, listen to music that's got, a little bit of a beat to it. So you're like, get in your body, some good primal stuff, do some drumming circles, howl at the moon, hug a tree, all kinds of things you can do. Get some, whatever. Go sit under a tree and chew on beef jerky. I'm so grounded, man. I'm just getting in my body. The inner warrior, beat rocks together. I'm just getting primal. I'm in my body. Good. Whatever you decide to do, you'll have to do 1,000 times more than you really needed to, had you healed what made you feel afraid to be here in the first place. But that's yucky. That's scary. Sometimes it means navigating things I don't remember. What if it's past life? You set your course. I am here to heal anything. You call on the Holy Spirit or Divine Mother. She'll know what you need to heal. So if I ask the Divine Mother, I like this because it's Mother's Day, but if I ask the Divine Mother, help me navigate the journey towards feeling safe again. Help me to be in touch with my body, the earth, whatever you want to call these things. Help me to get there. Help me to get in touch with the feminine. Now, if I make that part of my journey, you'll be more conscious when opportunities are put before you to heal those very things. And so all of a sudden there'll be a show, a movie that comes on the TV, and that was unexpected. You turn the channel, just wait. Watch a movie like instead of, I just want to only watch movies that are all purple and, about fairies. You're already there. You're already, your aura, get an aura photograph. Oh, look, it's purple. That's already nice, but you're not a good date, okay? You're just all, you're in touch, you're dating the air. It's very beautiful, but we don't see it. So you have these invisible partners, Have you met them yet? In your body. How do we get you to go there? Feel safe. How? Start forgiving the things that trigger you. Because that's the medicine right in front of you. Forgiveness. Well, how do I know which things to forgive? I don't want you to go overboard and put yourself in danger to process danger. Just watch the subtle things the mother is placing there. There's things you can do to heal the triggers, and there's also positive nutrients you can take. Like watch a movie like 13th Warrior that is about the warrior fighting off evil. You can get in touch with that. You can identify with that. Instead of scared, no, wait. Like there's a great scene in that movie. This is kind of a poet, kind of mellow guy, Antonio Banderas. And next thing he knows, he's in this group of Vikings that have to go fight some evil force. He's a little bit like, no, it's not my thing. So there's a scene where they're all resting in this, and it's getting late at night, and the evil force is about to invade and break into the building and try to kill them all. Well, they're all like resting back, waiting for the invasion, and they're going to fight them. Banderas says, but I'm not a fighter. I'm not a warrior. And one of the Vikings says, soon you will be. What is he saying? Get in your body, dude. When they break through the walls and start flailing swords at us, you don't want to say, I'm out of this because I'm a philosopher. You're just going to be dead. You and I, some people think that getting in your body is overly compensating. That's not. Your ego wants you to try to overcompensate. It wants you to go from being fragile and vulnerable to a hater, over fighting. It's more about your presence. I'm safe wherever I am. It's not about having to pick up weaponry. It's I'm safe, realizing there are things that can happen. But if I go into a store and my past makes me hyper nervous because there's so many people in the store, I can say to myself, okay, I'm going to take one of the shopping baskets home and I'm going to, tech it up, man. I'm going to put spikes on the wheels, like a chariot kind of Ben-Hur thing. And I'm going to put, armor around the basket so I can really just go in there and plow people through the aisles. That would be hyper-masculine. What we're supposed to be doing is go to the grocery store, knowing that if you get overwhelmed, I can walk out at any moment. You reassuring yourself is the mother talking to the child. Sweetheart, but mom, stop, honey. We can leave anytime. Really? Yes. But let's try one aisle. You do one aisle, and I know this might sound extreme and ludicrous, but this is how it is for some of us. So make an aisle. Wow, guess what? What, Mommy? We made it. That was pretty cool, huh? We did? Yeah, look, we did that aisle. Yeah, but I noticed we dissociated. Do you remember anything in the aisle? You're right. Let's go back over the aisle. And you do it. We did it. Did you remember anything? Yeah, there was, cookies and whatever it was. You noticed, fruit drinks and whatever. So stop. We did it. You just reprogrammed. That's an important piece. See, there's no weaponry. You just reprogrammed. Another one is, remember, I said, first, give yourself permission to leave anytime. Second, try a little at a time. And you've accomplished, and give thanks. This is important, but one more piece. While you're in the store, why are we panicking? Why did we dissociate? I must have felt afraid. And it's not like it was overt, a fear. It wasn't like you had a full-on panic attack. But we know that if you left your body, you didn't feel safe. So what are we going to do? I recognize that I was out of my body. I recognize I'm panicking while I'm in the store. See it, own it. Secondly, but this isn't about what's happening right now. Whether I was killed in another life or abused in this life, it's not happening right now. And that's it. You're saying to the child in you, honey, Mom, guess what? Honey, but look around real quick. Is any of that happening right now? Well, no, but it could. You're right, it could. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to leave if it does. Show that the mother is there. Show that the mother is a masculine-feminine blend. Show that she can step up. She's strong. Remind the child within that she's safe, he's safe. You see? And be conscious. Learn to be more conscious. That a song triggered you. It's happened, for everybody. But most people get triggered unconsciously, and so all they did was add another layer of wound. Because when you get unconsciously triggered, all it does is become layers that you're not even aware of, but you just become worse and worse as a person. I'm not here. I'm afraid. I live in terror. I just become worse and worse in terms of I'm not alive. My condition is worsening. So I breathe and I peel the layers. Honey, we're going to try this. But Mom, I know, let's try it. And we made it. You don't just make it. You acknowledge you made it and you give thanks. Wow, we did it. If you're afraid of relationships, oh man, I got burned in 2 relationships. They took everything and now I'm never going to do another relationship. That's not proper reprogramming. It's, I see that it hurt. I see what happened. So I think what I'm going to do, just like the parenting the mom to the child in the store, same the mom to the child or the dad to the child says, you know what we're going to do, honey? We're going to try dating for 30 days. And we're allowed to stop. Just like the store, you're allowed to leave. But let's try it. But what if they hurt me? Then we'll leave. Let's try it. 30 days. 30 days later, I dated. They didn't try to kill me. They didn't file any kind of negative comments about me. It's like everything went well. Breathe it in. You want to try another 30 days or you want to go for 90? As ludicrous as it might sound to some people, it's micro adjustments. Let me adjust and feel. And what you're doing is giving yourself space to remind yourself that you're safe again. It's so important. I want to be here. Nobody tells me how. When they talk about things like, men are brought up as boys, they're brought up really kind of in a shallow way, and they're forced to do this, and they're told, the programming we talk about with men and boys. Guess what? The opposite would be safety again, even for a little boy and man. They have to feel safe. It doesn't matter the gender or the age. We have to find safety. And behind it is, we believe we left heaven. We apparently, because it's only apparent, we apparently or seem to have left heaven. When you leave heaven and no longer have God, you are going to feel unsafe. But God so loved the world that he allowed his only son, not Jesus to come and save everybody, he allowed his only son, which is us, the Christ. God so loved that it allowed its only creation, us, to come into the earth plane and feel safe again. The separation created a feeling of unsafe. We have to say, God so loved us, it created this membrane of safety around us, a womb. Well, where is it? And this world won't tell you. Ask a politician, besides telling me what you're going to do for us in your campaign, how are you going to create a perfectly safe world? They cannot. Ask science, they cannot. Whether it's medical science or astrophysics, it's not going to happen. Ask religion, where is my ultimate safety? They cannot provide it. If religion can't provide safety, what are they representing? They're the same as the tantric, the druid, and any other group that ever said we're going to help you feel safe and grounded, but they forgot how to do it. Instead, they're saying, we're going to help you get in touch with the mother. Just drink this. Why don't you just give me a beer? Why do I need to drink some herbal cacao? Oh, this is organic. It's of the mother. I'm still getting stoned. You're getting me in touch with the mother, but are you talking about the divine mother? Oh, the earth mother. If you don't know about the divine mother, I don't want you as my guide. You follow what I'm saying with that? No offense, because I know some of you enjoy these kinds of things. But if your guide isn't in touch with the divine mother, why trust them to show you the earth mother? If it's tantric, oh man, I'm just going to help you get in touch with your body. I'll show you, forms of stimulation. I could have, all kinds of forms of neurological and brain stimulation. I can have a lobotomy. That works on my brain. Why would I want you to be messing with my nervous system, telling me, let's get you in touch with your body through stimulation? And I get that it's a nice thing, and sometimes we start to feel more, I am in touch with my body. I feel a little more like in my body, more arousal. Without the divine mother, it's never complete. It's never healthy. It still involves some forms of addiction and seduction. The mother is not about seduction. So if you're going to do something tantric, see if they're willing to call in the divine mother instead of just calling in, sex. If it's somebody doing some other form, whether it's the druid or whether it's the shaman, and we're going to do journeying, let's call in the divine mother to put her in charge of the process. Because if we don't, I will not ultimately feel as safe as I could have, which means we potentially are adding to my layers of unsafe. And I'm not saying they're all ill-intended at all. Some are, some are not. It's just that if you don't know the mother, what are you going to be able to share with me? What can you tell me? I want somebody that knows God. I don't care, even if you're a psychic doing a reading for me. Do you call upon the mother? And can I call upon the mother for our reading? I don't want you giving me a reading. You're supposed to be a channel for the mother. You're supposed to be the Holy Spirit talking to me. And you made it about you're a 5th lineage psychic. Great. But what if all 5 lineages are screwed up? I'm 5th, generation. Great. But what if you're all twisted, all 5 generations? Let's call on the mother. Let's get back to God. And call it the mother. Call it the Holy Spirit. It is, in a sense, like the Divine Mother. God's ability to connect with us and keep us in a safe womb is like the mother aspect of God. So all these things that people can do, all the, I can make you tingle more, or whatever else. How is it different from religion that lets people down? Messes with their minds, promising answers they don't have. This is one reason why Jesus said, don't ever call any person father. And yet that's the tradition in some religions, to call the leaders father, right? I don't know. How did you miss that statement? It's kind of weird. Don't call any man or person father. Why? Because he's saying, go to the father aspect of God and go to the mother aspect of God for anything you need. It doesn't mean don't use a psychic, don't go to a restaurant. It means what you do in a state of surrender to the divine. If you want to learn to read auras, do so. Ask the mother to help you learn. That's the ultimate shortcut. It's really the only shortcut. Mother's Day, we really have to understand the power and the importance of really understanding the mother. Bring her back into the picture. Bring her into everything we do. These other people, they're not all ill-intended, but they're going to help me get in touch with my body, of which they know very little, as an attempt to get in touch with the mother, of which they know even less. And yet, to ultimately connect with the Divine Mother, of which they know nothing at all. That's not the guide I want. I want to start having, I'm ready now, to start having a in-touch relationship with the Mother, the Holy Spirit of God. When I call on a reader, I want one that's getting used to the Mother coming through and channeling through her, that person. I don't care, contractors, whomever. Ask the Mother, the Holy Spirit, to be your guide every day, your teacher every day. You and I have been programmed to think there's God and then there's this world. We're here and we're supposed to find God now that we're here. And it's through the Mother that that'll happen. More so the mother aspect of God. It's such a beautiful thing when we realize it's all in the care of, instead of just like religiously saying, well, it's all in the care of God. What do you mean by that? Religions aren't going to tell you about your body. They're not typically going to tell you about cellular connection with God. I'm partly talking about ascension and grounding. But as the saying goes, and one I've quoted before, you can only ascend as well as you fall, Jesus said. What he's meaning in part is you can only ascend as much as you're grounded. Well, no, grounding makes me stuck here. No, that's the wounds that are talking. See? Wounding, unhealed wounds make us feel not grounded, but smothered, enmeshed in the material world. If I've been abused as a child or an adult, if I've been abused, you know what that tells me? This world abuses me. The mother is holding the world saying, I am this world. When you think the world abuses you, you're saying that I abuse you. And then we're still, God, I love you, but I don't love the world. And we're being told in scriptures, don't dare say that you love God and hate your neighbor. See, no offense, but your detachment from your body is, although sometimes a past life program. You might have been a monk or a nun and so on, so you're still running on that program. But you know what? That's very convenient. If I can run on that program, it helps me feel religious, which is not my ascension. It's religion. I'm religious and I'm being proper because bodies are bad. That's the old nun and priest talking. So some of us do the opposite. Well, I've been a priest. I think I'm going to go back this time and really go nuts and just do it all, right? The opposite extreme. You got trapped. The ego talked you into swinging to the opposite extreme. Why did it do that? Because you were just about to get it. You were just about to go, I get it now. So it had to distract you with an opposite extreme. Because you were just about to take your extreme to your center and say, this is a bit too extreme. There are people that say the mother wants you to love your body, so go and do everything with your body. It's just the licentious kind of go nuts. It's too extreme. I'm being given permission to heal. I'm allowed to be in my body. I get to be, not have to be. Some of you, and I'm not asking for a show of hands, some of you have been taught and allowed yourself to be taught that stay out of your body. It's naughty. Spiritual people. Now, if you go, warriors, very much, the lower chakras are activated. And there's not much up here. Spiritual people, wow, and not much here. Mastery is about balance. To be in the world, not of the world. And so many people on the spiritual path struggle with finances. Because that's that world again. So we unconsciously say, I know that if I go into this lifetime, if I don't get in my body, I'll struggle more financially, and I'm going to accept that. Some of us have made vows and contracts like that. I'm going to accept, and it's okay. Or that sex is going to be an issue. Either no sex or forms of sex that are somehow violating. Because I'm still not in my body. So all these extremes, and we're allowed to say, whatever vows I made, how do I break them? People say this all the time. Oh, you can do ritual to cut cords and break vows and break contracts. There are things you can do. Some brilliant healers, different forms of cutting cords and breaking contracts and all that. The simplest way to break a contract of any kind, I vowed to never start to feel too nice, sensation-wise, in my body. I vowed to never, ever do this, never, ever do that. All you have to do is plead insanity. That's what you do. Okay, now it's hard to believe that there's such a simple, I'm telling you. Stand there and say in the courtroom of the universe, here I am. I stand before you, Your Honor, God. Instead of making excuses for why I'm not in my body, instead of telling you how many people abused me, it's because then, as though God's going to go, no wonder you're not in your body. God, I wouldn't be either. Good job. Be dissociated. That's a great idea. That's not what God's going to say. So what's God going to say? Show me who they are. I'm going to go beat them up for you. That's not going to happen either. What's going to happen when you plead? God, I stand before you. I've been abused. I have not known safety. I had one of those households where someone was always drinking or drugging, and so we never knew when they were going to lash out. Somebody was bipolar. We never knew when they were going to swing to one of those extreme poles and start lashing out. So my nervous system is like this. What are you going to ask for? I stand before you, God. Make them apologize. Make my past not be there. What are you going to do when you stand before the court? Most of us, you know what we do? Don't go to court. Don't show up. That's what you're used to doing, not showing up. So don't show up before God either. And just hope you die before you ever get truly called on not being in your body. Then you're going to die and come back, and it'll be more extreme. You'll just be born with a head. I wonder why this happened. Just this head sitting in a hospital bed. How did this happen? And then eventually they're going to try this and they're going to try, and you still don't sprout a body. And eventually some psychic's going to come in, and say, well, you see, in a past life, when that's more acceptable in the medical world, they'll bring one in. They'll bring in a psychic. We have a person who only has a head, and we're going to try to sort out why this happened. They'll bring in a psychic who says, yeah, man, you were so not in your body. This is the universe going, ha! See what it's like to not be in your body? Right? So you're miserable. You can't even brush your teeth. It's not good. So eventually you're going to have to say, I got it. Fine. Yes, the world dished stuff out. We're not going to pretend that didn't happen. I get it. Stuff happened. But my reaction to it, my terror, my unhealed wounds are what's keeping me in this position, circumstance. So you know what, God? I plead insanity. I was insane to think these people had power over me. I was insane to think this world had power over me. I was insane to choose not to be in my body. It made sense logically, but it wasn't rational. I am ready to be here. And you might have one of those moments where, your ceiling parts, your roof, everything parts, and sky, you can see the sky, and you see angels, and there's this amazing celestial activity going on, and there's light ships and angels in your living room now, and everybody says, hallelujah, you're in your body. That could happen. It might also happen with one technique at a time, where the mother says, honey, we're going to go in the store, and I want you to just make it through one aisle, give thanks when you're done. Next week, we'll try 2. That's more often the way the Mother, the Holy Spirit, brings healing to us. Gently, tactfully, proportionately right for us. Don't forget, though, there's people in your life that are those ungrounded people, right? So you and I are also embodiments or manifestations of the Mother. So you and I need to be good manifestations of the Mother, good representations. How? By trying to be the safety that people are looking for in the world. Whatever form that takes. For somebody who says, oh my God, I could never eat food made by somebody else. I think in a past life I was poisoned. You say, well, let's try something. Here's a candy bar that's wrapped. It's fairly safe and, it's not been tampered with. And you try that and say, good job, anything. You find out what you can do to help others. Don't go overboard and don't try to be overly in people's face telling them, I sense you're out of your body. Let me help you. And they're like, do I know you? You can't be invasive. But imagine, because as a healer and counselor, I can't tell you the thousands and thousands of times that this worked out for me helping people go in that direction. Let's try that. Let's try that. I remember a gal I worked for, I did a session with, and often the sessions get crammed into spaces when I'm on tour, especially when I was touring. And this was one where I was doing a service and the lady I needed to do during the lunch break between service and workshop. I needed to do sessions but before service and after. So this lady before service, I did one, and she was very scared, out of her body, no male contact. I can't do it. We did some healing. There were some tears, some healing. Very beautiful. But I also said, now, we have about 10 minutes before service. Let's go for a walk. I actually took her arm in my arm and held her hand, and we walked through the parking lot. See? Why? Because it was taking it to another level. It was not just, thank you for being with us, bye-bye, good luck with the continued healing. It's like, let's just do the healing. We did the work, now let's walk, and you'll hold a man's hand. You see what I'm doing? It makes it an absolute visceral manifestation. I can never hug a man. Give me a hug. See, doing things like that kind of act it out a little bit in a positive way to get them in their bodies. I've seen this with children, children terrified, to be present at all. And I never, a mother brings their child to me at a workshop and, can you do a healing on my child, 2 years old or 4 years old or whatever. And one child was constantly having panic attacks about dying. No, it was about getting old at all, aging. So this child thinks, I never want to be an adult. Something happened, right? Somewhere. So it's like, wow. So at some point, I'm just talking to you, hey, how you doing? And you bridge properly. Somewhere in the conversation, I brought up, oh, well, it was nice to meet you. Well, let me shake hands. And they were all excited. Oh, I get to shake this guy's hand, and he's like a healer or whatever they thought I was. Let's shake hands. And I went, oh, I'm sorry, wait. That's something adults do. See what I just did? Really? Well, yeah, adults, men, hey, nice to meet you, Would you like to try it? Yeah, I would love to. Okay, but it's like we're adults. Is that okay? See what's happening? I got him to want to do something that was adult-oriented. Something that simple was probably far more effective than all the conversation I had with him. So those three-dimensional, visceral things we can do. Walk the aisle of a grocery store if you have panic there sometimes. I have panic, I can't sit in water and bathe because it brings up panic. than sit in a puddle. Well, this isn't really killing me, puddle. Then try a sitz bath, maybe 2 inches of water or whatever. Try it. You survived it. Nice job. You see what I'm doing? Let the mother guide you into a day at a time. You don't need to get stoned on something organic or non-organic to get in touch with the mother. Oh, but I did. I went on a journey and I went under the earth and saw roots and this and that. And you can do all that, even without being stoned. But even if you do it with some wonderful ayahuasca or something you enjoy doing, all I said was don't do it. I didn't say don't do it or do it. I said do it with the mother. Bring in the mother. There was a guy who recently passed away. He was an incredible healer here in Sedona. And that's something I probably most admired about him. His healing skills were fantastic. He did adjustments of the body and all these things, and he always had some tripped out thing going on in his house. He would he just always had some bizarre concoctions, burning, and whatever. All kinds of ayahuasca experiences, masks. He had all kinds of, and music, and the table you lay on would be, plugged into them. So, you're always you get some totally tripped out thing going on. Yet, I loved that he would honor God. He didn't stoop to the level of, we're only going to talk about me and magic skills, which is what some healers that do these kinds of things do. He was like the mother, man. And so I could go there sometimes when I saw him, I could lay there and I could have stayed there for hours on that table. Because the music and everything that I asked him to select was all about the Divine Mother. So you and I have to step up and make that selection in our lives sometimes. He was a good enough person to do that, to match that. He kept open to that, and I loved that about him. But you and I have to do that. When you're having a conversation with your partners and it's too far gone, you can say, wait, I'm not feeling real safe right now. Give me a minute. I don't mean to overuse that sentence, I don't feel safe, because that sounds offensive, like you're doing something. But truly, everything you do, if you're reading a book that makes you start to get scared because it's all darkness and conspiracy oriented, maybe that's not the choice from the mother. The mother, it's true, God only loves us. There's not except on Mondays, except when there's a Saturn return. Always, consistently, purely, unconditionally loves us. So when you're not feeling love, there's something wrong. And love, the forms of love, peace, happiness, safety. Everybody needs, that's the practical word. We can talk about ascension. You're not ascending if you feel unsafe. Oh no, because I'm out of my body. I'm going to get there faster. I'm going to make it to the fifth dimension quicker than you because I'm not even in the third. I'm telling you, you can think you ascend. All they're going to do is give you a, card, like in a Monopoly game. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 or whatever. You're going back to jail. That's called Earth. Go get in your body, then talk to us about the fifth dimension. See, the logic is, if I'm not in the third dimensional body, I'm closer to the fifth. Makes sense. It's not true, though. The fifth dimension is for people who are in their body and in their soul. See? Healed. For some of you, as I'm going to close now, for some of you, this is bad news, because you were like, God, I thought for sure the less I'm in my body, I'm ascending. That's kind of a bummer. And you're hearing somebody talk about, you've got to get in touch with wounds. You can't let them control you and keep you out of your body. And you were thinking, man, I'm 98. I was thinking, I'm out of here soon and I'm going to ascend. And now you're telling me I got to go back and work on something? Yes. But all in the care of the mother. The mother can heal you of everything in 1 second, if you believe that. You don't believe it usually. So it's going to take maybe lifetimes, maybe only days. All I know is it's the most effective and efficient route to surrender it all to the mother. Happy Mother's Day is the day that I happily surrender and choose the mother as my guide. Think about this. How can I make the mother happy? How can I make my mom proud of me? Stop trying to make your human mother proud of you. Go to God, the mother, and make her proud. How? By surrendering. By saying, I love you now. I was afraid of you. I know you don't think you're afraid of the mother, But when you're afraid of men or women, of government, when you're afraid of taxes, when you're afraid of death, illness, those are all symptoms of not trusting the mother. How do I know that? Because the mother is behind every one of them. Not behind hurtfulness. I'm saying she's hidden and concealed behind them all. So at the end of the day, you and I, ultimately what we're doing is, Divine Mother, how can I find you today? I want to have a happy Mother's Day every day. How do I find you? She's going to say, well, I'm behind all those shoppers that are scaring you. So let's walk through, breathe, and at the end of the aisle say, I did it. And you've gotten closer to me today. Memories that you don't want to remember because they're too intimidating, breathe. Let's just look at one at a time. She's fine with it. She's like, we're going to do this at your pace. It's true. But some of us don't trust God or the mother and think that we'll be dragged into healing modalities or dragged into healing crisis beyond our ability to handle it. It can't be done beyond our capacity to handle it. It can't be done that way. It might feel that way because I lost faith in myself. Please take a few centering breaths. Today, we start, as usual, with a few centering breaths. And we're going to imagine ourselves standing with a light in the distance, and we know we want that light. That is our destiny. It's the embodiment of miracles, the fulfillment of prosperity and peace and joy. That light in the distance, that's the Mother, the Holy Spirit of God, that can and will bring us everything we could desire in this world. See it in the distance and know that's where you want to go. Just give that a second. And for us to be able to navigate ever so slowly, just an inch at a time, imagine that this is, let's say 100 yards away. We can move a few yards if we walk through this question. Do you understand that being grounded is not the same as being trapped? Just observe your thoughts around that. Sweetheart, the mother says, part of you thinks that getting grounded means you're going to be trapped. Some of you are afraid of commitment in relationship. That's because you're afraid of being trapped, which is your form of not being grounded. Give that a moment to unravel. Are we willing to let that go and plead insanity for that false thought? That's not true, we could say to ourselves. That was an incorrect assumption or belief. To believe it, to take it on, is insanity. So I plead insanity. And we float another few feet and another, slowly but surely. Try this one. She says to us, sweetheart, part of you believes that being grounded means being absorbed in the materialism, money that you judge, power that you judge. So can you divide yourself? Can you peel away, allow to be peeled away, your beliefs that to be grounded means to be materially enmeshed? Just choose to let that go. I was mistaken to think that. To be grounded, you're going to be harmed. To be grounded means you're going to show up, and if you show up, people are going to see you. And if they see you, they might attack you. It's not true. Decide that it's not true. Allow the truth to be here, and let the other go. And you're floating several more feet and yards forward. I'm starting to get this. I'm getting this. I'm floating more easily. She says to us, sweetheart, do you realize that you believe that getting grounded is going to mean that people are going to see you, and like I said before, seeing you, but it also means you're here more so they see you and they're going to see your flaws. They might see your past, naughty things you've done or done to you. You'll be judged if you're here. Are you willing to let that go? Fill in a blank. Honey, do you realize that being grounded to you means, and name a negative interpretation you might hold. For you, being grounded means, and fill in the blank. And visualize that as you let that be peeled off, that you're just whooshing forward faster. Now you're going 10 yards at a time. I'm fully here. I'm fully present. And the more you're saying that, the more you're making some ground here. You're getting some territory. You're getting towards that doorway. I'm here. I'm safe. Yeah, but you could die. Die what? I can't die. It's impossible. Lay the body down? Sure, but if it's my choice, how is that not empowering? I'm here and I'm in charge. I'm also choosing to start parenting myself, but I don't know how. That's also not true. Even if I don't know how, I'm willing to find out. The mother's going to teach me how to mother myself. I refuse to see or find this to be flawed. This plan, this goal of letting the mother lead my life. A few centering breaths, and in your own way, get to the conclusion, at the light at the end of that tunnel, as it were. Step into that light. Absorb that light. When you're not grounded, your body can't absorb nutrients. You're killing yourself by not being grounded, literally. Stand here and at least absorb the light ether around you. Alive, alive. Yes, this feels great, but I could still think, I like this, but this isn't density. So love where you're at, and then take your assignment from the mother and trust her. She says, now turn. Take this light that you are back into the earth plane, and know, if you properly get in your body, you will find the light nutrients even in dense foods. You will find light in people. You will find light and love and possibilities in crowded places. Everything's going to be seen and experienced differently if you allow it to be. Really get that. You're bringing light to the world. That's what it means to be grounded. It's not an either or. It's inclusive. The light of God goes with me wherever I go. When I'm showering, when I'm at work, when I'm on the toilet, when I parent people, when I'm making love, all the things I do, sports activities, the presence of God goes with me wherever I go. And I refuse to believe anything else. So when I eat, the presence of God is here, and the nutrients, they just immediately burst from the food and get absorbed into my body because they're so excited to find God again, instead of being treated like they're poison. All the right nutrients. Whoa, it's you. And they come into you. Perfect absorption, perfect aliveness. A few grounding final breaths with that, with an attitude of thanks. And slowly stretch out. What we're asking for seems impossible. You're being asked to feel safe in an unsafe world. It's impossible. But what is impossible for man is possible for woman. I mean, for God. I'm kidding. We're being asked to embrace our divinity in a world that tries to crucify the divine. It's impossible. But it is possible with God. You're going to have to say, show me how. Because there is no book yet that says, here's the 1, 2, 3. Because there can't be, because we're all different. We all have our variations of what to work on. But generally, the recipe is there. I've got to turn around my feelings of unsafe. How? Heal what made you feel unsafe. Secondly, refill with more grounding. Don't just try grounding. Try to heal and empty your cup of the things that made you feel unsafe in the first place. And I don't care what it is or where it came from, another life, people, wounds, choose to heal it. If you don't choose to heal it, it means you're choosing to stay broken and ungrounded. That means you're also choosing to not go to higher dimensionality. You're making that choice by not healing. All right? Thank you. Let's please stand for our closing affirmation. Yeah, shake off the past, shake off the old. Typically I'm in touch with what I say. I'm aware of what I say. I'm conscious of what I'm saying typically. And I love that we can navigate so many places, guys. But I also want to say that you, all the females, and the female within the guys, but all the females that are willing to watch this kind of program or attend this kind of program, you are partly making a statement. This is a male that I tend to feel a trust towards. That's an honor. But there's also men who are able to watch and not feel the competitive male thing. That's huge. And I'm honored that you trust me enough to let me play that role, to be the mother to you and the father to you. But I also very much thank all of you for being the mother and father to me, helping me birth new parts of myself. Because you guys trust me more than my own human father did. You gals love me more than my human mother did. You understand? Just like Jesus told John and Mary at the foot of the cross, be there for each other. And that's what we're doing. Okay? Ultimately, underneath it all, we talk, we share, we do all these cool lectures and ceremonies and songs, but underneath it all, we're walking each other home. A sense of gratitude. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
No doubt about it, right? Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is, totally and for all time. God bless you all. Thank you for being with us. And thank you for watching online as well.